We have a question from Jesse. Jesse's down in Melbourne, Australia, where I've been. Gyms closed down in March and only just recently reopened after our lockdown strategy managed to completely eliminate the virus in the state. That's just awesome. I started working out at home during this time, and the more I learned, the more I enjoyed it, and the more frequent my workouts became. Isn't that funny about training at home, like I do? I already had a set of adjustable dumbbells, and I added some kettlebells and resistance bands. I am now more committed than ever to fixing my posture, but I'm unsure the best way to do this, apart from the basic physio stretches like chin tucks. I enjoy the push-pull leg routine I can do with the equipment I have, but I've also enjoyed learning the kettlebell swing and Turkish get-up. The Simple and Sinister program is quite appealing to me. Do you think this would help me achieve my primary goal of fixing my posture, or are there other programs or exercises you would suggest instead? Well, that's what I call a complex question. So thank you. You said a whole bunch of things, and at the end you threw in a program that I don't use called Simple and Sinister. I know this about posture. Posture is one of those things that, I tell you, if you want to be a great thrower or a weightlifter, you really need to spend some time with posture. I'm sure it'd be the same with gymnastics. And one of the things that's funny is, as you mentioned posture, I find myself trying to military my posture. First off, I would like to have seen a picture of what your posture looks like. If it's the traditional posture we're seeing in 2020 with the shoulders rolled in, this one here. And I know some people don't believe that happens, which just cracks me up. Of course, some people don't believe in science, so I don't worry about anybody anymore. For me, I would just kind of go, let's just with two sides of it, which I found very helpful. When I talk about posture, I always go back to what Mark Chang taught me about Chinese medicine, the four knots, the hips and shoulders. I always start there first. They're knots, K-N-O-T-S. They have to be tight enough. The knot has to be tight enough to stay and loose enough that you can undo it. So shoulders and hips have to be tight enough and loose enough. Let's start with the shoulders first. I have become an absolute missionary for simple hanging. I've just seen, besides the research out of the Kauai study and just my recommendations and what I've seen with myself, simply hanging from a bar is one of the best things I think you can do for your shoulders. And if your shoulders become looser, just simply hanging from the bar. If your shoulders start to loosen up, if your shoulders start to go back in the positions they need to be, good things tend to happen throughout the whole area up here. I noticed that recently with my neck, how doing my shoulder mobility work hanging has made my neck much looser than it's been since the 1970s, which is impressive. When it comes to the hips, I think the hip flexor stretch and the goblet squat are your money. That's why we have that 6-minute challenge. It's the goblet squat challenge where you sit in the bottom of the goblet squat, and every 30 seconds, so at the 30 seconds mark and on the minute, every minute, you do one goblet squat, and you do that for 6 minutes. And what we find with a lot of people is that whatever your issue is, some people, they don't have the anaconda strength to handle it the whole time. Some people can't hold the kettlebell for the 6 minutes, even if it's a light kettlebell. Some people get so stuck in their hips and ankles that their squats begin to look really strange. And so what I like about the 6-minute squat challenge, and you can do it for 3 minutes, you can do it for 1 minute, is that it shows you your path of where you're struggling. It might be mobility. It might be flexibility in the hips that's holding you back. So if you have a strong butt, you have strong deltoids, so obviously vertical pressing, goblet squats, hip thrusts, swings, any kind of an Olympic lift, deadlift, squat, you know, the whole thing. If you're pressing and squatting, those are the exercises that are going to help you most with your posture in the weight room. And then if you're doing the mobilizing work, the hanging, the deep goblet squat, maybe the hip flexor stretch, whatever appropriate, by doing that, I think we can wedge you in to better posture. I'm not a fan of one-handed swings, and that's a big part of the Simple and Sinister program. And the reason is, unless you do them right, I would say don't do them at all. And not many people I see do them right. I hope that helps, and congratulations, on training at home and now realizing that you want to work out even more. So thank you very much. Good question.